Chill here with Sirius Talis Moon, and this is Moon Hour. Mercury Day, Moon is 14 degrees Sag, Mercury is conjoining Formula out, and Sun is 22 in Aquarius. Ascendant is applying to conjoin Jupiter retrograde, and Jupiter has a lot to do with the law, juristic system, and so on and so forth. And indeed, we somehow see Saturn is at the end of Pisces and the big files of Epstein being released. Definitely Neptune in Aries has something to do with that. That was definitely the for good ingress of Neptune. I think we've not seen the entirety of the list, and I predicted that what is missing is going to shed light on certain things. So I can't say that I have extendedly studied the Epstein files. I have extendedly studied the topic from other points of view. However, the name Judge Judy was not mentioned in Epstein files as far as I know. Okay, I could be surprised there, but as far as I know. With Neptune, it's very good to pay attention to the names that are missing. When I run an AI scan, and why am I looking for that? I'm going to address that because Judge Judy is both a celebrity and a judge. And this is somewhat unusual. Also, structurally, if I come to assess, let's say, structures of extortion cults, Judge Judy would occupy both the jurisdiction, potential to whether it's Supreme Court, whether it's upper echelons in the jurisdiction, and celebrity. Now, here is the funny thing. Usually celebrities are trafficked to the elite. And usually Supreme Courts are hand in hand with the Epsteins. Okay, she's not a Supreme Court judge, but okay, I think. Pardon if I had mistaken on that level, but okay, as far as I know, she's not a member of Dodge, let's say. Could be wrong even on that, but but there is also the structural question: what if the Dodge members are all the Epstein list? We have such thing allegedly with the Rolodex. Um, and they brought Saint Michel Nihul, and there was a halt to the investigation, which means, first of all, it's structurally problematic because the juxtaposition of, oh, possibly there is the name of the person who's running the Supreme Court. Okay, then no. Okay, structurally it is requiring for explanation, even though we know that the Epstein list is probably as big as the Rolodex, if not bigger. So it's definitely not one person as high position in the in society as it may be. That is, again, I could be wrong, but what I'm saying is that there are probably many people on that list, including in the juristic authority, okay, in the jurisdiction. So Judge Judy is an interesting case because she's both a judge, okay, which means she went through the echelons of being a judge and a celebrity. And what I find with a quick AI scan is, based on search provided by results, of the source provided by results, there is no evidence that Judge Judy Schindling has made any public comments, statements, or taken a stance regarding Jeffrey Epstein. And this is the grand missing. Because it sparks the question, now that the Epstein files are, at least a major part of them is out, it sparks the question, and she's not, so far, it doesn't look like she's showing in the files. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but none of those. That TikTok is linking to a video where somebody says that if the Epstein list is out, some lady says that Judge Judy is definitely not in it. I don't have the rights for the video, but you can click on the link and see what videos show up, and she's not listed with the Epstein. But here is the thing. Epstein was litigated in 2006. We are in 2026. 20 years after. Judge Judy is quite an outspoken, opinionated, blunt, public figure with the legislative authority to address the possible jurisdiction or to address what is within her jurisdiction to comment as a public figure about such big scandal. It's the biggest gates that ever were in the United States. In public. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. That sparks the question, was Judge Judy fearing for her life? Granted that she is not on the list, and how did she manage to become a judge and a celebrity without participating and being trusted? It requires, in the context of the bandwidth of the structure that was associated with classified projects budget called the Epstein list. There's the clothing project, MK Ultra, MK Often, investing in AI and technologies that target individuals, to trafficking, in keeping technologies classified so that there would be missing evidence of the people afflicted by the endeavors of the Epstein gates when they try to pursue not even justice, but stopping the torture. Not even persecute. The lifelong compensation that many people around the world and it's not about entitled to, it's about need to survive. And if Judge Judy, here in the miraculous case that she was just fearing to be assassinated, could not open her mouth to speak, and mind you, this is a very opinionated and outspoken. Definitely she cares about justice. And not only that, Judge Judy is known for her conviction. So, even if I will find out that there was one instance in 20 years of the biggest gates that United States has ever publicly addressed, the closest was Bill Clinton asking to defund MK Ultra, defund the syphilis and compensate the people, and addressing and apologizing for the cloning project, calling to defund. Basically, it was calling to defund Epstein. Whether he was being extorted or whatnot, or in what context was he affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? That was 1995. Adjacent to that, we had the case for Monica Lewinsky, which was exposed not by the wish of Monica Lewinsky. And then, to be very honest, Bill Clinton acted like a dumb fuck. He could have smoothed that out. Monica Lewinsky had nothing against him. She was all about growing, authentically looking, doing shadow work, thinking, reflecting. She didn't even want that thing being exposed. And he had to act dumb. That's how a guy can sometimes act dumb and bring about him a big scandal that he could have smoothed it out. And Monica Lewinsky had nothing against him. Probably she would heal later and talk about it, but then it would already be the Epstein context. The apology for the cloning, people could wonder, is he himself a victim of the cloning project and MK Ultra? As a bigger context, calling to abolish the phenomena of extortion cults. "20 years, not a single comment is showing us that whatever the case is, Judge Judy was afraid to speak. For 20 years. It's not a woman that can easily be silenced. Now, because I already mentioned her, so let's see if we have a natal chart. So, Judge Judy, we do not have a birth time. Moon, 27 degrees Pisces. Sun in Libra. Mars, 22 degrees Libra, conjoining Venus. The Sun and Mars are surrounding Spica, which give us her conviction. Stellium in Libra. We see the word, when we see a stellium in Libra, a female judge is one of the significations. Neptune 0 degrees Libra, Mercury 10 degrees Libra. Rahu 3 degrees Virgo, the ability to pay attention to details. This Mars in Libra, Sun in Libra, sometimes she can get impatient, have cutting remarks, but very Libra figure, which is associated with jurisdiction. Pluto 7 degrees Leo, Jupiter 24 degrees Cancer. Jupiter was going retrograde 1 degree away from her Jupiter, so Judge Judy is having a Jupiter return, which means that good or bad, this issue is coming probably in a big way. And Jupiter does rule. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, Moon in Pisces. It does rule matters of law, truth, justice, philosophy, and religion. And she's judge of the people. Cancer rules the people. For example, Jupiter, Leo could be royal jurisdiction, or yes, I don't know exactly to say what would entail Supreme Court, but if it is a royal affiliated, it could be Leo or 5-degree Jupiter. Libra can go for also international court, and so on and so forth. But if we see who is she judging, definitely we see the people. Yes, what happened? Judge Judy? Judge Judy. Judge Judy natal chart. Saturn 11 degrees Gemini, Uranus in Gemini. Judge Judy is about to have the Uranus return upon the Uranus ingress to Gemini. That definitely means that there are big things coming. Okay? Again, good thing, bad thing, who knows? Uranus here is actually in the part in Gemini that is it doesn't yet have a Jupiter signification, but that Saturn is definitely that Jupiterian term, because Mercury is about trying things. This Uranus doesn't care good thing, bad thing, but this Saturn does. So it's a fascinating combination. Lilith in Cancer. Again, we see her outspokenness, the stellium in Libra, her being a judge of the people. I don't know to tell what makes her a celebrity. It can even be Neptune, but Neptune is an intergenerational planet. If it is in the 5th house or in the 11th, it could be, she could either be a civil attorney or civil matters, and indeed she judges basically in civil context. By the way, even her saying my jurisdiction is civil affairs, and the Epstein story, albeit being very important, is I don't know, federal, or even by then federal, whatever the terminology would be in the structure of jurisdiction, then even saying that was something that she probably knew would be considered evasive. But even something as that, and again, even if I will find one statement in 20 years of something that affected many civilians, how many people came to Judge Judy where in these cults, taking the testimony of Douglas McIntyre, the father would murder and there would be mind control, and then the father would hold the child hand to teach him how to murder and say to the child that they did it. Classified technology does allow for hacking into nervous system. Science, not science fiction. How is Judge Judy treating that when she is within her domain? Okay? If you're like, she's going to answer you, amazing. It's an important conversation. Late Larry Loudon, before he jumped to law, he talked about 1990s Larry Loudon, how technology allows us to observe what was previously not observable. Now, if that technology is classified, we need to declassify the technology. We cannot have classified technologies when we have civil jurisdiction, because if civilians might be targeted, even if by hacking, even if by that technology leaking, civilians do not need to go to jail without having a way to come out of the pattern of offense. Okay, jurisdiction is not about revenge. It's about preventing. A part of why I did not litigate in 2017 is not because I didn't seek justice, but because A, I saw that there is something structural, and B, I wasn't seeking revenge. I was seeking to recover. I was seeking to address the issue. I was seeking to raise awareness to something that was definitely structural, and I was seeking to address the fact that the offenses towards me felt to me like it was trauma response of the offender, and definitely I did not purposefully provoked traumatic response. So there was definitely something that was triggered, and then the control mechanism of harm and trying to control me was triggered. And I said, well, in that case, this needs to be addressed in a way that both people can have their sense of self, sovereignty, and so on and so forth. And again, I'm telling that story as a study case for how jurisdiction is not about revenge, but about basically changing of pattern from pattern that violate sovereignty and sense of self and well-being to patterns that align with sovereignty, sense of self and well-being on an individual level for every individual. We can't have that with classified technologies. Just the thought that some crime organization would leak or hack into this technology or study that patent and do that and practice that on civilians, and then those civilians commit crimes, they stand in the face of Judge Judy. Judge Judy judges them as per what she knows is scientifically possible, and what sustains a scientific conundrum is the technology being classified, so she cannot even have access to the data that she as a judge needs to assess correctly where did the offense begin, and how do we actually regain nervous system and sense of self-sovereignty while adding the preventative measures and all the other things that she can probably lecture me from her knowledge and expertise. במקרה. So again, I definitely thought to address the grand missing and the particular special case where we have a celebrity judge. Okay, the closest equivalent would be Dr. Phil. I don't know if Dr. Phil is on Epstein list. מקרר היבש. When I was learning screenwriting, we were taught to have exactly this type of communication when we write a screenplay, because only me and my mom know what is the dry fridge. It's basically an old fridge that is not connected to the electricity, that we just store dry food in. And that's okay. Hidden reality of human trafficking. Um, yeah, let's see news. Okay. Okay, so yes, an ice and Epstein is one and the same, but I do not see him appearing on the Epstein list. Um, and let's see if he has anything he said on Epstein. Let's see AI. And let's see if I have Dr. Phil on Epstein as AI. No, I don't have an AI scan right now. So again, another grant missing, because from the perspective of a public consultant, we would expect to hear his take on Epstein. And if it's difficult to find it, it's already adding another factor to the grant missing, and that is, of course, Google. So, yep. This is one technique that we can work with when Neptune is in the sign of names and identity, which is Aries, and ask ourselves what is missing. Okay, for example, for 2 years, because I reside in Israel, I couldn't say the word genocide until the European, I think it was European Union, did not address and claimed that the actions in Israel were genocide. I had to pick my battles and broadcast regarding the structure of extortion cult, the way ritual abuse is done as wealth consolidation on rare earth minerals, oil, gas, natural resources, and real estate, address from the core the testimonies as is, and then the possible affliction, which means wars, genocides, concentration camps, and so on and so forth. And that gave me actually the ability to say that in a case where Israeli elite goes to a country like Thailand, or any country where it's legal to rape children, supposedly for money, of course those rapes are taped, and the goal is to extort for those elites to do something. For example, not prevent the 7th of October, which would consequently make it a lot easier to not prevent a genocide. But I had to pick my battles, and I could not say the word genocide, could not invent a word that is also a war crime and a crime against humanity in the right of myself as broadcasting, where I had the interest that the knowledge about extortion cults would be widespread so that we can have better data accessible and assess our calls to action accordingly. Because that thing happens not just in one territory. Um, for example, declaring the rare earth minerals in Congo blood minerals or conflict minerals, I predict something like that can absolutely happen in the Arctic and in Greenland. Will it happen in Palestine? Okay, those are the big question. The big questions, um, and the astrology allows me to time my questions and predictions. Saturn's upcoming ingress to Aries very likely is going to address the missing names as well, which I already began to do, or recover the missing names, or suddenly certain names or certain lists will suddenly go missing. Um, so, other than Judge Judy and Dr. Phil, if there are more such examples that I can think about, yes, this man was accused in sexual misconduct. Wait a second. We can't study cosmology without running into this guy. Let's see if we even have celebrity cosmology, celebrity physics. Um, More common. I covered his chart at the aftermath of the Me Too. Um, no way. Okay, I will need to come up with another episode. I covered this chart in Spirit of Matter on YouTube. I even tried to ask him for his birth data, because I was doing a astrology community charity to try to ask for people for their birth data, and I started with scientists, which is before astrology was something that the JP Morgan affiliated quote was discussed. But yeah, he did not reply. Um, Gosh, I have the face, the name. The name is missing. Oh, Neil deGrasse Tyson. So Neil, let's put it with. Now let's do what we all do. Epstein. I'm not gonna. But just. Okay, so he had allegations for sexual misconduct in 2018-19. So Stephen Hawking was in Epstein Island, mentioned in Epstein Island, been seen in Epstein Island, but no, he was sexually misconducting allegedly elsewhere. Privat. Um, Possible conversations. This is not evidence. possible conversations between Jeffrey Epstein and Neil deGrasse Tyson. Do you want to come over? I have some girls, boys, hermaphrodites, whatever you like. And saying, sorry, I already have mine. I do this privat academia. Which could, of course, spark the competition that could have assassinated Neil deGrasse Tyson for not willing to comply with Epstein academia infiltrations. I may have been no. I was harder than any researcher for a good reason. So misconduct allegations, creepy scientists. No, the creepy scientists are the ones funded by these projects as the Frank Olsons. I'm not saying he didn't have another hat, but okay. Yeah, this is Threads. Deepfake is the most terrifying yet. Yes, of course, they were waiting for the deepfakes, which was a technology that was developed by the Epstein Gate. So, yeah. So, the allegations in academia is Epsteining without Epsteining, without saying the word. But was it with Epstein? I don't know. Could he have sexually And here is the thing: a tip from the person that was in academia and had to take a break because I didn't want to participate in that party. Could Neil deGrasse Tyson individually sexually harass women without any supervision by the Epstein endeavors? Nope. Nope. It's about control, not about sex. Okay? I just have a couple of Eurekas, Volken. I'm gonna drink my coffee.